So our theme this month is listen to your heart. And on the first week, we talked about the seat of the soul, that exploration of understanding that the activity of creation within us is our soul. And then the second week, on Mother's Day, we talked about learning how to listen to our heart, understanding that the desire of our heart is the desire of Creator's heart because they're one and the same. Last week, we talked about the great work of our lives, exploring, understanding that the divine is operating, living its life as us. That place where we understand that there is one life, that life is God, Spirit, the divine, Creator, whatever word works for you, and that is our life. So this morning, we're going to go even a little bit deeper into the path made clear. So we know that there's one thing, that it manifests out of itself, by itself, to be itself, so we must be that. But how do we know we're on the right path? If we learn how to listen, then we understand that we're given divine nudges a little bit at a time. And that what we don't get, or at least I have never gotten it, maybe you have, is a life script that tells me how everything in my human journey is going to unfold so that I can prepare in advance to meet it with the most ease and grace and comfort. That has not been my path. What has been my path, and I think it's the path of all of us when we lean into it, is understanding that every glorious moment and every messy moment carry equal and profound value in the evolution of this earth thing that we call our life. And perhaps that faith is where we find the greatest clarity in our path. Because I don't know about you, but oftentimes where I know I'm being led, I can't see the path. I can't even see the next step, much less where it's leading to. If I really understand that my life is the activity of the divine in form, then I can have that conversation with my ego that thinks it's being threatened, with my inner child that thinks it's being abandoned, it's really scared. And we can all move forward together. I like how Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith says it. I'm going to quote it directly because it's a little bit of a mind twist. When you believe more in what you don't see than in what you do see, then what you do see, you won't see. And what you don't see, you will see. Follow that? Let me read that again. When we believe more in what we don't see than in what we do see, then what we do see, we won't see. And what we don't see, we will see. What he's offering us there is, for me, the perfect clarity about how faith and this creative process works. If I define my path in objectified form, I'm always limited. most of the time lost. If I allow myself the depth and breadth to believe, and I mean believe without questioning, what I know is on the unseen side, then my focus shifts to that unseen. And I don't even notice the stuff that's in my way anymore in this physical realm. And as I take my focus off of the physical realm onto the spiritual realm, onto being, embodying what I know is my path, even when I cannot see where to put my next step, the next step is revealed under my foot as it steps down. Maybe it's just me, but the human part of me would like to see the path, say, at minimum, 10 steps ahead. And if I'm telling the truth, I'd like to see it played all the way out. The human part of me wants a roadmap. I'm not going to get one. I can create one. I can go into strategic planning, and I can go into all kinds of decision making, and I, the human me, can absolutely create my path right to my last step in physical form. I can do that. That which created us gives us complete free will to do that. Or we can truly dive into the mystery. The invitation, the eternal invitation, if you will, is to live in the unknown with an absolute certainty of knowing. Now, I know that might sound a little contrary to the brain. I get that. But we're not talking about knowing with the brain. We're talking about knowing with the heart. Knowing that the activity of our soul is the very activity of the creative process, and it can never be incorrect. It can never lead us astray. It is never going to take you down someone else's path. And so your path, my path, all of our paths are divinely guided every step of the way. Now here's the part that can become a little disconcerting. Even when I go astray, it is the use of creation. Because creation, love itself, is the eternal givingness of whatever this is that created us to itself. And so it has no judgment. It has no shame. It has no blame. It's along for the ride, and it has given every one of us complete free will to go wherever we go, to do whatever we do, whenever we do it, without any condemnation. It just loves us. And it is just there, being itself. Our journey, if you will, in the human, is a journey of remembering who we are. Remembering that we are the very breath of life in form. That we are the heart of life in form. If no one has told you, let me remind you. You are an intentional, purposeful, unrepeatable, divine idea and desire in the heart of the infinite. That's who you are. That is your life. Your life is simply a journey of that. So how do we become clear about where that's supposed to go? We pray, we meditate, and we pray and we meditate. And we wrestle with our doubt. I often am confused when we talk about Jesus, the example, and we inaccurately say he had no doubt. Because if we study the story of the Garden of Gethsemane, he had doubt. He prayed twice. If there is a different path to take, I'm all about it. I see where this path is going, and I don't want to go. And he prayed, and he listened. And then he prayed again, and he listened. And when he understood that this was his path, he surrendered to the calling on his life. And so I invite you this morning to know, because you already know, but to allow yourself to be aware that you know what is the calling on your life. It may be to paint. It may be to write poetry. It may be to be the best garbage collector in your neighborhood that you can be. Infinite possibility of expression. Every expression equally valued. I invite you to know that in order to truly know what your path is, that it might kind of, sort of, on some level be excruciatingly helpful if you stop looking at what everybody else's path is. And stop comparing yourself based on the standards that we've established in this human realm. Because they're not applicable to the spiritual realm. There's no hierarchy in oneness. None. And so I invite you to listen with an open mind, with an open heart, with an infinite yes, to embody your path. To say yes to, if yours is to bring about a new organization that offers people teachings and education that they don't think they want. And it looks like an uphill battle. And it's still yours to do. Do it. And know that your yes is the yes of creation itself. That your path is supported every step of the way. That no matter what it looks like day to day, you cannot fail. And you can't fail because the divine can't fail. And you are that informed. And when we are following that nudge, when we are listening to the activity of our soul that we talked about in week 1, that we are literally following the activity of law, and we can't go wrong. We can't mess it up. When you believe more in what you don't see, when you believe more in that inner voice that is calling you to know something that is yet to be manifest in physical form, when you believe in that more than what you believe that is already in form, then you will no longer be distracted by what is in form. You won't be led astray by the shoulds. You won't be led astray by someone else's idea of you. Because rest assured, the world has an idea of who you should be. Many of you are familiar with my reference to the infinite volumes of shouldapedia that we have written throughout the generations of humanity. And I invite you to know you that isn't on those pages. It can't be on those pages because you are infinite possibility in form. And there have been no shoulds written to negate you. You are the only one that has the power to do that. Stop waiting for the world to agree with the calling on your life. Perhaps the calling on your life is an invitation to the world to know itself more deeply. Perhaps. And perhaps it might be kind of sort of in some dynamic a little scary in the human realm. Might be. When we believe more in what we don't see than what we do see, we will no longer be distracted by what we have seen, and you will see your path laid out so clear before you that you can't possibly miss it. Let's take this into prayer. In this moment, I feel the presence of the infinite. I know this one. I sense it. I allow it to be in my awareness. I recognize, for one, the infinite, the ever-present allness. It was in the form of this building before I got here. It was in the form of my vehicle that I drove here. And it is in the form of the driver, of the minister, of everyone who's listening. Because this one is all there is, in, through, as, around creation, never separate from it. All form is it, manifesting the desire of its heart as each diverse expression of itself. Holy wow. And so what I know is that when I speak my word, and I speak in the first person, I'm speaking in the I am. And the I am is listening. And so what I speak for myself, I speak for every expression of creation because there's only one speaker, only one listener. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that the activity of this day, of this now, is the activity of divinity coming into that human awareness of each and every expression of itself. That anything unlike that just falls out of awareness, no longer distracted. Each expression steps into that holy, magnificent yes. I see my path. Even in the unseen, I see my path. And I say yes. I say yes to be more than my humanness can see. I say yes to walking through that human uncertainty. I say yes to walking right through the middle of every thought, fear, telling truth to those thoughts, neutralizing them, bringing my mind into the alignment with the one mind that is my mind. So grateful to just feel that resonance in every cell in my physical being, to know the truth when I hear it. That's where I place my faith. And gratitude comes up as evidence of my faith, as evidence of my yes. I invite you to just open to this gratitude, to open to your faith placed in truth, unshakable, unquestionable, known, embodied truth. To join me as we anchor this together, claiming it, making it your very own, simply by saying, Amen. Ashe, Aho, and so it is.